David Parker Ray's story shocks with its sheer brutality. Spending $100,000 to create a torture van, he roamed America, hunting women to subject them to unimaginable torment. Assisted by his girlfriend and daughter, Ray evaded capture for 40 years. Meet David Parker Ray, one of history's most prolific and brutal serial killers. Born on November 6, 1939 in Belen, New Mexico, Ray's childhood remains largely a mystery. Raised by his grandfather alongside his sister, Ray often encountered his father, who was abusive and introduced him to sadistic adult magazines. These early influences possibly shaped the future monster Ray would become. During his teenage years, Ray was bullied for his shyness around girls, leading him to seek solace in alcohol and later more potent substances. Even in high school, Ray was consumed by dark thoughts of torturing and killing women. His sister once stumbled upon drawings vividly depicting these fantasies. After high school, Ray joined the army and later married 4 times, with each marriage ending in failure. During this period, he fathered 2 children. Tragically, his daughter would later become an accomplice in his horrific crimes. It's difficult to pinpoint when Ray began his killing spree, but police believe it spanned nearly 5 decades. Throughout this time, Ray remained elusive. Law enforcement had no inkling of his monstrous activities until one victim managed to escape. On March 22, 1999, the Elephant Butte police received a distressing call from trailer residents. A young woman had crawled to their door, appearing battered and traumatized. Officer Jones later admitted she was the most unusual sight he'd encountered in his 24 years of service. The victim, 22-year-old Cynthia Vigil, was found wearing only a steel collar, with her body covered in cuts, bruises, and burns. After receiving medical attention, Cynthia recounted a horrifying tale. On March 19, 1999, while working as a prostitute, she was approached by a man posing as an undercover cop and arrested for solicitation. He cuffed her and placed her in the back of his car, then drove her to a secluded trailer. Over the next 3 days, Cynthia endured unimaginable torture. Ray and his girlfriend, Cindy Hendy, strapped her to a gynecological chair and inflicted pain using a variety of tools. Before the torture began, they played a tape showing another woman being brutalized in the same chair. The recording included instructions from Ray, explaining how the victim should behave. Cynthia was to address Ray as master and Hendy as mistress, and was forbidden from speaking without permission. Here's a chilling excerpt from Ray's narration. This recording is made on July 23, 1993, as a general advisory tape for future female captives. The information I'm about to provide is based on my years of experience with captives. If any major changes occur in our procedures, the tape will be updated. You are obviously here against your will, completely helpless, unaware of where you are, and uncertain about what will happen next. You are very scared or very angry. I am sure you are trying to free your wrists and ankles and have realized you cannot. Now you are just waiting to see what happens next. Cynthia noted that Ray spoke these horrifying words calmly and confidently, as if torture and murder were routine for him. He promised to kill her after the torment, as he had done with all previous victims. On the 3rd day, Cynthia saw her chance for escape. Ray went to work, leaving Hendy to watch over her. Hendy accidentally left the keys to Cynthia's restraints nearby. Seizing the opportunity, Cynthia freed her hands. Hendy tried to stop her, but Cynthia grabbed an ice pick and stabbed Hendy in the neck. She fled the trailer, completely naked, with a metal collar around her neck and heavy chains on her wrists. Desperately, she knocked on a neighbor's trailer door. Fortunately, the owner was home and called the police. Officers immediately began searching for Ray and Hendy, who were out scouring the area for their escaped victim. They were soon apprehended. When investigators entered the trailer, they were in for a shocking discovery. What appeared to be an ordinary vehicle on the outside was, in reality, a full-fledged torture chamber. The walls were adorned with hundreds of instruments designed to inflict pain. In the center stood a chair reminiscent of a gynecological exam chair, complete with straps to restrain victims. A large mirror hung from the ceiling, forcing the unfortunate girls to witness their own suffering. In addition to this horrific setup, the trailer housed 643 discs and tapes containing obscene content. Some of these recordings were made by Ray and his wife. The police played the disc that was in the player at the time and were horrified by what they saw. The 81-minute footage showed Ray continuously torturing a woman, clearly deriving pleasure from the act. Further investigation revealed that although the trailer itself was valued at $100,000, the sadistic equipment inside was worth at least $24,000. The trailer was also completely soundproof, ensuring that no one could hear the victim's screams. Ray referred to his creation as a toy house, underscoring his view of unimaginable torture and murder as mere entertainment. Following Ray's arrest, authorities discovered that his 31-year-old daughter, Jessie Ray, was complicit in his heinous crimes. On July 24, 1996, Jessie brought her friend Kelly Garrett to her father as his next victim. That fateful evening, Kelly had argued with her husband and decided to unwind by playing pool with Jessie. Unbeknownst to her, Jessie spiked her drink with sleeping pills and took her to Ray's trailer, where he tormented Kelly for 2 consecutive days. Afterward, Ray slit her throat and left her on the roadside. Miraculously, Kelly survived, but the serial killers could have been caught much earlier. Unfortunately, luck was on Ray's side. Neither Kelly's husband nor the police believed her story. Her husband thought she had fabricated the kidnapping to cover up infidelity. But why didn't the police investigate her alarming tale? This question leads us to why this group of sadists could abduct and kill women for years without detection. Ray drugged each victim with strong substances that either erased their memories of the ordeal or left their recollections fragmented and hazy. Kelly, for instance, couldn't remember many details but knew for certain that she had been kidnapped and tortured. Another victim, Angelica Montana, came forward after Ray's arrest. She had known Ray and visited his home once to borrow pie ingredients. Ray tied her up, drugged her with his concoction, and subjected her to torture before releasing her. The police found Angelica wandering naked in the desert. However, even then, the authorities didn't pursue an investigation because Angelica couldn't recall specific details. It wasn't until her second statement that Angelica's testimony strengthened the case against Ray. Realizing the situation was dire, Ray's accomplice Cindy cracked and revealed all the murders she knew about. Ray claimed he had another accomplice, his friend Dennis Roy Jancy. After his arrest, Jancy confessed to killing a girl named Mary Parker, following days of torture by Ray and his daughter. The trial was exceptionally challenging for the authorities. The known victims had hazy recollections, and investigators couldn't even estimate the number of affected women. Ray's actions appeared random. Some victims were released, while others were killed. Although the FBI believed over 60 women died at the hands of these maniacs, proving Ray's direct involvement in any murder remained elusive. Even the detailed diaries the criminals kept, documenting at least 50 killings, didn't help much. The main problem was the absence of victims' bodies, and linking any discovered bodies to Ray without direct evidence was nearly impossible. Ray was ultimately sentenced to 224 years in prison for kidnapping, assault, and torture. His accomplice Cindy received a 36-year sentence but was released early on July 15, 2019. The public was most outraged by the lenient sentence given to Ray's daughter. She received only 2.5 years in prison and 5 years of probation. After her release, she wrote a book titled My Dad's Lair. Ray himself spent the least amount of time in prison. A year after his sentencing, he died of a heart attack on May 28, 2002, at the age of 62. His death dashed investigators' hopes of uncovering more details about his crimes. We may never know the full extent of the atrocities committed by these sadists, but the available information is enough to mark David Parker Ray as one of the most brutal serial killers. His story serves as a chilling reminder of the horrors that can unfold right under our noses unnoticed.